What's up? My name is Eric Butler. This channel is called Report and Opine. I am back, and from the Los Angeles Times, this article has gone hugely viral, or I don't know how many people have actually read the article, but the headline has certainly gone viral. They say, how white and affluent drivers are polluting the air breathed by LA's people of color. So these people just cannot stop. This is the same publication that called Larry Elder a black man, the black face of white supremacy. They are now rolling all of their talking points into one huge, disgusting, agenda-driven burrito, and it's absolutely despicable. There's really no better word for it. And are they kind of leaning into this soft bigotry of low expectation? I mean, can LA's people of color not be affluent? Or they're just poor, downtrodden people being victimized by the white people's car driving through our neighborhood? This is just so weird, right? I mean, how much lower can you get? We just saw from The Root, right, calling Chris Rock anti-black. And this is kind of like that. It's like you're driving these wedges. You're trying to put a square peg into a round hole. None of it makes sense. You're just trying to make people obey, and it's all collapsing. That's why you're getting more and more extreme, right? Because if it made sense, then you wouldn't have to get so far out of reality. But your heels are too dug in. You can't go back now, so you just have to keep plugging away and hope that somebody buys it. This story originally published in Boiling Point, a weekly newsletter about climate and the environment. Okay, so I guess that's a little bit of a disclaimer. It's not actually from the Los Angeles Times. They are just republishing it, and I guess that makes it a little bit better that this is not actually from what is supposed to be a real news outlet. Like many Angelenos, I spend a lot of time behind the wheel of my car. I drive from my West Side apartment to Dodger Stadium near downtown and further east to hike in the San Gabriel Mountains. I take the 405 freeway north to San Fernando Valley to see friends, or occasionally south to LA to the LA Times office, or to the airport where I grow my carbon footprint even further. Okay, so at least I guess they're trying to be a little bit self-aware. So I couldn't help but consider my own complicity when reading a new study from USC researchers finding that Angelenos who drive more tend to be exposed to less air pollution, and Angelenos who drive less tend to be exposed to more pollution. Okay, what? This is so weird how these people they just create these narratives out of nothing, and just the fact that they say it makes it true. That's all they have to do to make it true. You don't get to question it. You don't get to confirm anything. You don't get to fact check. The fact that they said it already makes it true, and they know in their head that there can be no other opinion. It's like Costanza saying, it's not a lie if you believe it. So they just go with it. And I ask myself this every day: is it malice or is it incompetence? Do these people actually believe this stuff and they're that dumb, or do they know how manipulative they're being and they just, go to bed on a pile of money and it was all worth it? It may sound like a paradox, but it's not. It's a function of the racism that shaped this city and its suburbs and continues to influence our daily lives, a stark reminder for the need for climate solutions that benefit everyone. And this is like Pete Buttigieg, Alfred E. Newman, Petite Pete, saying all the highways, but racism is built into the highways. Like, dude, what? What are you talking about, bro? Give it a rest. You're the one perpetuating it. You guys are the ones constantly screaming about it. Do you think for one split second a downtrodden, poor, helpless colored person in LA is just so mad? Oh, look at all these cars going by. The climate, they're all after me. Now, I thought this was a global problem, right? It used to be called global warming. The entire climate, it should be affecting everybody. But somehow you guys pick out a victim group to say is being, of course, victimized by people driving their cars, right? It just never stops. My colleague, Terry Castleman, wrote about the study, which was published in the peer-reviewed journal, Urban Studies. Oh, peer-reviewed journal. Yeah, it was very, very scientifical. The core findings is that for every 1% increase in miles driven to and from work by people who live in a particular part of LA County, there is an estimated 0.62% decrease in the lung-damaging, quote, fine particulate matter to which those Angelenos are exposed. How is that possible? I asked the study's lead author, Jeff Boeing, a professor at the USC Sol Price School of Public Policy. I'm sure he's going to shoot it straight, right? A USC School of Public Policy, some weird commie socialist nonsense pinko rag. professor, ideologue. Ugh. He told me it largely comes down to the shameful history of Los Angeles County's low-income communities of color being torn apart to make way for freeways, a history that has been extensively documented by the Times. Today, many residents of the county's wider, more affluent neighborhoods who were often able to keep highways out of their own backyards commute to work through lower-income Black and Latino neighborhoods bisected by the 10, 110, and 105 freeways. It's not like commuters are coming and shopping in these communities, patronizing restaurants. Boeing said they're just driving through to get from one side of the city to the other. They are now complaining that people are driving to work, which I guess makes sense, right? Because you're not supposed to drive a car anyways. You're supposed to, take the bus. You're supposed to walk. You're supposed to ride a bike because green carbon footprints, all that stuff. So naturally, they don't want you to drive. They want you to live in the pod and eat the bugs, and they're just going to give you a little ration and tell you exactly how much you can spend each month. But they can't pull that off just yet, so they're going to claim that driving a car is, of course, a wayccist. Southern California has some of the nation's worst air quality. Cars and trucks are one of the main reasons why. So you're telling me that the people, you guys are all breathing that disgusting LA air. You think it just stops at the Black neighborhood and then the air is clean when it gets to, the highest point of Beverly Hills? Who knows, bro? Like I said, this used to be called a global problem, the entire climate, but now they have figured out a way to identify one group as the victim that they, of course, are going to save, and they don't recognize that savior complex, but I digress. Cars and trucks are one of the main reasons why, and the closer you are to the source, the more danger you face. Whenever I move, I insist on finding an apartment at least 1,000 feet away from the nearest freeway. Okay, sure. Fair enough. You don't want to live near that's fine. That's your prerogative, but you're pretending like, we just all have to stop driving to work, right? Of course, this comes right after, we're going to the 4-day work week and it's not safe to go inside to an office building. Oh, Rona's going to get us. Did you get the shot? Oh, are you wearing 2 masks? Get a respirator, wear goggles. These people, I can't imagine you can make it to adulthood and actually believe this stuff. They know it's manipulative, right? And this is what we talk about almost every week on Unauthorized Opinions podcast with Andrew Says or Andrew Does, I guess, depending on the day. Check it out every single Sunday afternoon at 5 p.m. Eastern time. Boeing has gone a step further, taking an air quality monitor with him and his wife were looking for a new home a few years ago. He got one of his highest readings for particulate matter near the 101 freeway in Echo Park. Now, as I understand it, Echo Park is kind of like a hipster neighborhood. I don't know. I have a small child, and I try as hard as I can to avoid air pollution. We'll move out of L.A. We're just going to avoid. This is nonsense. I highly doubt that anybody's actually reading this. I'm going to stop reading it right now because it's incredibly disturbing and really, look how long it goes on. They've written 5,000 words to tell us that driving a car is wayccist. None of it makes sense. They got the clicks because the headline is incredibly crazy, and they know that too. They're not stupid. They're just manipulative, or I should say they are incredibly manipulative, not just manipulative, but they know what they're doing with a headline like this, so it's going to get the clicks. Nobody's going to read it, but it doesn't matter. The damage is already done, and whether they believe this or not doesn't really matter, right? Because they just have to go with the narrative. Some of them might believe it. Some of them might be manipulated. I don't know, right? I guess in the grand scheme, the political class and the media class, like these people, they know the truth. And they're in good positions. They're making money off the lie. But it's people in the cities, maybe college kids, maybe older people, maybe people who still think the news is real. I don't know. But those people are being manipulated. And anybody in a position of power who tells you this stuff, they don't believe it, right? We see it all the time. They didn't obey the Rona rules. They fly around in private jets while they cry about climate change. They tell you that you can't protect yourself while they walk around with armed security. It happens with every single thing. So this is just a way for them to get clicks, and I guess they win this round because I did, in fact, click it, and I think I read probably a little bit more than most people did read outside of just laughing at the headline. So thank you for watching. Please like, comment, share, and, of course, subscribe.